Hi, my name is Josh, and I'm honored to be able to guide you with some ideas that may help you be a more effective youth worker. I'm glad you're watching this today, whether you're doing this as part of a team or individually as part of an online course, because youth workers who advance their skills and commit to learning are those who are the most fun to work with. Can you think of a youth ministry mistake that you've made recently? I'm confident there are mistakes made every day, like showing up late to youth group and you find kids swimming in the baptismal, or getting angry at that one kid who is obnoxious during your message and you changed your whole lesson to be about respect. Or how about that one time when you asked a parent if she was pregnant and she wasn't? Wait, that was me just being an idiot yesterday. It had nothing to do with youth ministry. Sorry about that, little confession here. Well, here's the point. We all make mistakes. I remember being 21 years old, brand new in youth ministry, and I made all sorts of mistakes. I'm sure if there was a book called Youth Ministry Mistakes, I could have literally checked off every single one as, yep, I did that, caught me, did that one too, unbelievable. So if this lesson is on mistakes, I am guilty. I have left kids behind on missions trips. I have exploded out of anger at a teenager. I've hit mailboxes with a church van. I'm not particularly proud of that one. I've disrespected parents or even practically totaled the church bus, and I was the one that was driving. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why am I listening to this guy? I know, you probably should be teaching this lesson today, and I should be the one watching. But I know this, there's a youth ministry mistake in all of us, and if there's an expert in the world, that's me. Well, fortunately, a recent youth ministry mistake happened to someone other than me. They were on my volunteer leadership team, and I took the heat for it, but it was definitely his mistake. Now, today, it's a pretty funny story. And when the calls started coming in from parents, it wasn't that funny at all. Now, here's what happened. One of our veteran small group leaders called me in a panic, realizing that he'd just made a bad decision. It involved his small group of guys that he was mentoring, some buffalo wings, and the fine dining establishment called, wait for it, Hooters. Yeah, Hooters. My small group leader took his group of boys to Hooters, a fine family dining experience for everybody. Now, here's what you need to know. This wasn't a rookie leader. He had been a leader in our church for years. Truthfully, I'd stack him up against any of the other youth workers we had in our team. He consistently made good decisions. He prayed for his guys. He was the type of leader who poured into the students that were entrusted to him. He's a total stud who made a dumb decision. Well, here's what happened. He was joking with some of his guys that they should go celebrate after a big accomplishment and they should go to Hooters. So they all laughed, and then a couple of them said they should really go, that it would be hilarious. The leader panicked. He tried to talk him out of it. In the end, he threw in the towel. Maybe he was thinking, hey, at least it's not a strip club. But he joined them, and even though he did, he knew it was a bad idea in the first place. Oh boy. Now, the first thing he did right after was to call me, the youth pastor, which is a really smart idea. He made a good decision there. When you make a mistake, don't let the leader hear about it from somebody else. A blindsided leader is not a happy leader. It can hurt your credibility far more than you would expect. Upset parents are going to call really quickly. So don't make the mistake of calling later. You've got to call right away. Now, we live in the real world of mistakes, and mistakes happen. If you're making mistakes and learning from them, that's called progress and maturity and leadership development. That's great. There's no such thing as a perfect youth worker. Now, this lesson isn't about being flawless. It's about how to handle mistakes that you and I certainly will make. Now, back to the story, right? The next few hours after that phone call were absolutely critical. Now, we were fortunate that it was an experienced volunteer who followed the steps that I'm about to share with you. And as a result, he was able to reestablish trust with these parents and the kids' trust. And here's exactly what we did. First thing he did was he owned it without excuses. There's nothing like just owning a mistake that you made. Honesty and openness are essential for rebuilding trust. The last thing you want to do is minimize what happened or pretend that it isn't a big deal. It was a big deal, and it needed an owner. So his commitment to this responsibility was a really big deal. So if you commit the foul, raise your hand and say, you're the one that needs to own it. You see, parents trust you with their teenager. And within that trust, they don't expect you to just be a friend or act like a teenager. You are their leader. Teenagers have plenty of friends in their life. What they need you to be is a caring adult, a leader, and then their friend. So when you own your mistake, be sure you give all of the details to what happened so that that information that comes out later, boy, it will really attack your credibility if new things are discovered. The more damning that information is after the fact, when you should have just confessed everything, it's going to erode your trust. When you make a mistake, own it so that you can move forward. The second thing our leader did was he completely apologized for what he had done, began the process of starting over. So you've been honest about what happened, you've taken responsibility, and now it's time to apologize and admit that you were in the wrong. This isn't going to be easy, but this action displays humility, repentance, and your own humanity. Now, I always tell my leaders that don't try to appear perfect. If you're a perfect example for your students to follow, when there's a moment of weakness or a poor decision, you're clearly not perfect. It can undermine your authority as a leader and your example to follow. So be humble and simply ask for forgiveness. Remember, lapses in judgment, there are honest mistakes. They're going to take their toll on trust, the trust that others have placed on you as a leader. But arrogance and disrespect in those mistake moments, they're going to cause permanent disrepair and permanent damage. And instead of having a chance to get back into students' lives, you've severed that relationship forever. It's a great chance to display humility and demonstrate a sincere apology. The third thing our leader did was accept the consequences of his action with great humility. So if you've made a mistake, chances are, even with enormous amounts of grace thrown at you, there may be some consequences for your action. In the case of my buddy, Captain Hooters, we'll call him, he apologized to the parents right away, and we just asked him to take a back seat to leading his group for a few months remaining in the school year. There was more going on in his life, and as we unpacked this, we just said, you know what, you probably just need a little break. And he totally understood. He was gracious, he gently pushed back, but was super humble. And in his response and his humility opened the door to restoration. Now, I'm happy to report that he is back leading with us now and is a great leader doing a great job. And he won big because he was humble. Now, we all make mistakes. If you haven't made one yet, hang in there, you will, and that's okay. They can become part of the journey of being a good leader. If you follow these simple principles, they will really serve you well. You can own it, apologize for it, and accept the consequences for what happened. Now, keep in mind, the longer that you've served, the longer you've been at that church, the more deposits you've made into the longevity bank account, the more that you will be trusted. Trust is an essential character quality for an effective youth worker. So every week you're earning trust, being a faithful, caring leader. Now, you're non-perfect, and that is okay, because you're building this relationship as part of your youth ministry love for the teenagers and the parents that are trusting you so deeply. Now, again, you don't have to be perfect. You can't be. But you can follow these steps to become trusted and an effective youth worker too. Blessings to you as you serve students this week.